This assembly will come to order. Please remain standing if you are able. With humility and pride, Hamilton College acknowledges its campus sits on the ancestral homelands of the Oneida Indian Nation. The Oneida, or Onyata'aka, in their indigenous language, means people of the standing stone. Emerging in 1793 from a vision by Reverend Samuel Kirkland and Oneida Chief Shenandoah, both now interred side by side on our campus, to establish a place where American Indians and settler youth could receive a quality education, Hamilton College's very foundation was built upon Indigenous reciprocity and inclusivity. We recognize our past failures to implement this vision. Through sharing our community and educational resources, we are committed to building a sustainable partnership with the Oneida Indian Nation and the Haudenosaunee peoples. We embrace that our past and our future are forever tied to the Oneida people. Please be seated. It is now my honor to introduce the chairman of the Hamilton College Board of Trustees, David Solomon.
Good morning, and thank you all for joining us for this special day in the history of Hamilton College. A special welcome to the members of the Platform Party, the Hamilton Music Department faculty and ensembles, community leaders, students, faculty and staff, family and friends of our 21st president, and the dozens of delegates from colleges, universities, and scholarly organizations from across the country who are here with us this morning. We are grateful for your participation in this investiture ceremony for Steven Tepper as the 21st president of Hamilton College. Today has been a long time coming and could not come quickly enough. We began the search for our next president more than a year ago. After receiving hundreds of inquiries and selecting 4 finalists, we announced the selection of Steven Tepper in early February this year. The position profile called for an accomplished scholar and broadly engaged intellectual with a deep understanding and commitment to the undergraduate liberal arts college, a record of successful administrative leadership, a gifted communicator, a history of recruiting, developing, and retaining world-class faculty, a leader for whom equity and inclusion are at the personal core, and a record of advancing diversity and belonging, a demonstrated respect for academic freedom and diverse opinions on key social and political questions of the day. We also wanted someone who was enthusiastic about Hamilton and wanted not just a college presidency, but this college presidency. I could go on. Suffice to say that being a college president today is a big job. It takes someone with the skill of an Olympic champion, the creative vision of an entrepreneur, the strategic thinking of a military commander, and the ability to work collaboratively, diplomatically, and always with integrity. In Steven Tepper, we have found the perfect person to serve as Hamilton College's 21st president. Steven brings abundant enthusiasm and seemingly boundless energy to his position. He asks different questions, and he welcomes different perspectives. He listens well, and he genuinely cares what you have to say, and he thinks big thoughts, and he encourages new ideas. In his first meeting with faculty earlier this month, he asked, "How can Hamilton be the most important liberal arts college of this century?" How indeed. On behalf of the Hamilton College Board of Trustees, I offer congratulations to Steven and pledge our enthusiastic support for his presidency. We look forward with great anticipation to his leadership of our college. It is now my pleasure to introduce the college choir under the direction of Charlotte Botha. Thank you.
I now call upon the Hamilton community to offer greetings to our new president. We will begin with Student Government Alliance Vice President, Quentin Messer, class of 2026, who will be followed by Karen Brewer, representing the faculty, Kevin Alexander and Katrina Schell, who will speak on behalf of the staff, Elizabeth Tantillo, who is here to bring greetings from the local community, John Christopher, who will deliver remarks on behalf of the alumni, and Linda Johnson, who will bring greetings on behalf of the Board of Trustees. Quentin, will you please come to the podium?
Good morning, Hamilton community. It is my distinct honor and privilege to stand here before you all. Please take a moment to take in the energy of this room. Look to those seated to the right and to the left of you. Acknowledge your presence in this space. And most importantly, appreciate the unique sense of joint purpose among college stakeholders that an investiture ceremony creates. We are gathered here this morning to celebrate the installment of our community's next leader, Dr. Steven J. Tepper. President Tepper, as an elected representative of the approximately 2,000 students that call Hamilton our home, your inauguration signifies a renewal of a commitment to the stewardship of the distinct learning experience that only the finest liberal arts colleges, such as Hamilton, can provide. You'll be tasked with many things, find yourself negotiating between competing priorities and missing the Arizona sunshine. But above all, remember that 2,000 young adults on this hill rely on your responsible stewardship as we immerse ourselves in a 4-year journey of self-discovery, academically, socially, and civically. President Tepper, you are now at the helm of a learning community that is over 200 years old and has seen many students ascend, descend, and return to its hill. We do not arrive or leave the same because we are constantly molded by the curricular offerings and deep interpersonal connections this college community offers. There must be an increasing commitment of resources to give students further momentum as we progress on our quest to know thyself. A momentum only Hamilton can craft that empowers us to descend this hill and face the world head-on in a way that maintains our individual sovereignty and joy. President Tepper, I am confident you can steer Hamilton through its next chapter, and I want to leave you and my fellow students with some words from Max Ehrmann's Desiderata. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You're a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations and the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy. President Tepper, we, the students of Hamilton College, look forward to the good ahead and your infusion of creativity and curiosity into our undergraduate learning experience. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. On behalf of my faculty colleagues, it is a distinct honor to welcome Steven Tepper as the 21st president of Hamilton College. When the college was chartered in 1812, it took a little time to get a faculty organized. But by the end of 1812, 4 faculty had been hired. Joseph Montague as tutor to help the other professors, Seth North for Greek and Latin, Theodore Strong in mathematics and natural philosophy, which is physics, and Josiah Noyes, my favorite, chemistry and mineralogy. Hamilton's curriculum retains these traditional academic areas, but students now engage the full breadth of the sciences, arts, humanities, and social sciences. Even more exciting is the growth of our interdisciplinary studies programs developed from collaborations of the faculty with overlapping pedagogical and scholarly interests. From a faculty of 4, we are now a faculty of over 250 who work with and learn alongside students in classrooms, laboratories, studios, and athletic fields. We are a transforming faculty, not only in the academic areas we teach, but also in our very makeup. It seems odd to say, but the faculty at Hamilton are getting younger. In recent years, many new colleagues have joined us on the Hill. They are bringing new perspectives and exciting scholarship that enrich our curriculum and the educational experience of our students. President Tepper, you join this community at a time in which curiosity and joy in academic pursuits will amplify opportunities for an increasingly diverse and creative Hamilton. I expect the voices of the Hamilton faculty will continue to express quite different and passionate opinions on issues of governance and decision-making. And those voices, I have found, are focused on student success and a commitment to this place and this work. We're eager to work with you to foster students' creativity in seeking solutions and hope through challenges, in recognizing failures as opportunities to strive beyond limitations, and in understanding the need for kindness and generosity to all of the world's peoples. Congratulations and welcome to Hamilton, President Tepper.
On behalf of the staff, we welcome you, President Tepper, to Hamilton College. It's a bold move, coming from the warm and sunny climate of Arizona to the many microclimates of central New York, where it's said, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. But here you are, and here we are, at this moment, welcoming our 21st president. Our community of staff is a diverse blend of individuals working in various capacities, on campus, hybrid, and some fully remote. We represent a wide range of roles, from early mornings maintaining the campus to late nights supporting student services, or from round the clock ensuring the safety and well-being of our students to countless hours spent ensuring technology, course support, and administration run smoothly. Collectively, we all do a little bit of everything. While many of us call Central New York our home, others have relocated here, like you, from within the United States and beyond. An institution such as Hamilton provides fresh opportunities and challenges to learn and grow as practitioners of our craft. As both proud and humble alumni and employees of Hamilton College, we're grateful for the chance to join our colleagues in giving back to an ecosystem of engagement, knowledge creation, and personal growth.
So we share a commitment to supporting the mission of this institution, which is to prepare students for lives of meaning, purpose, and active citizenship. From the moment a student first looks at Hamilton, we're here, guiding their journey to the Hill, shaping their experience for the brief time they're here, and ushering them into their something else after graduation, whatever that looks like for them. And then we draw them back to reminisce, to mentor the next generation of Hamiltonians, and to reconnect. Whether it's in the sweltering heat of our summers or the freezing snow of an upstate New York winter, or from a home office in some other corner of the planet that we all share, we show up. And we show up because we, like you, believe in Hamilton's purpose and values. Like you, we seek creative ways to actualize Hamilton's motto of know thyself. As we embark on a new chapter under your leadership, President Tepper, we are eager to support you. The staff are here to assist you as you chart a course for Hamilton's future. And together, we'll ensure that Hamilton College continues to thrive and excel for years to come. Thank you.
Good morning, and welcome to historic Clinton. It is a privilege, honor, and a lovely surprise to be proclaiming to this esteemed audience today. Allow me to offer the sincere proclamation from the village of Clinton. Whereas Hamilton College has persevered and thrived all these 212 years under the leadership of great college presidents, President Tepper, you have big shoes and heels to fill. Fear not. You have the support and encouragement of students, faculty, alumni, and the Clinton community to stand with you in the years ahead. Whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this historic and enduring relationship between college and village. There is no Clinton without Hamilton College, and no Hamilton College without Clinton. Our beginnings are inexplicably and undeniably integrated as Samuel Kirkland began his life's work, which coincided with the founding of the village. Whereas New York State Governor Horatio Seymour once wrote about this college, it overlooks the valleys once traveled by armies in war, which are the channels of commerce in peace, and which will be in the future what they have been, the pathway of great events. One such event, the 100th anniversary of the college, was attended by former Clinton resident and then current U.S. President Grover Cleveland. Whereas Reverend Charles Allison from the class of 1870 noted in his book, A Historical Sketch of Hamilton College, published in 1889, the Hamiltonian is the mirror of college life. The heart which beats loyally and throbs by instants, and it is the little things, the things of off-hidden, of daily life, that link the heart throbs to any object, of home to off-frequent haunts, to college, and makes one loyal to it. In my 30 years affiliated with Hamilton, I have witnessed countless loyal hearts that throb for this college and believe your heart will follow suit to become a true Hamiltonian. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Elizabeth Tantillo, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the Village of Clinton, do hereby proclaim September 28th, 2024, as President Steven Tepper Day in Clinton. Happy inauguration. Welcome Steven, Dana, and family to your new hometown. Thank you.
Good morning. Stephen, in the coming years, you'll hear much of the accomplishments of our graduates and of our Hilltime experiences, both great and small. One Hamilton tradition is that of the class analyst, where a member or members of the 50th reunion class regale theirs and successor classes with tales of days past. The first such reading I attended was by Howard Hosmer regarding the class of 1933, who wrote of his love of our alma mater. I suspect I am not alone in contending that the Hamilton experience is an asset unmatched by most in the wide world of higher academics. I have never been uncomfortable in the company of haughty Ivy Leaguers. They have their loves and we have ours, and nothing could have been sweeter than this. Years later, Ed Watkins, Hamilton, class of 74, spoke of the transformative role of Hamilton's austere living arrangements. Almost all of us were housed in Dunham, he said. Dunham was structured on 1950s Scandinavian medium security prisons. Of course, the Hamilton trustees decided to eliminate the frills. Cinder block walls, bunk beds from World War II barracks, and well-worn desks greeted us. Little did we know what a huge role Dunham would play in our Hamilton experience and how many friendships started there. At the same time, on the other side of College Hill Road, Beth Kneisel Crummick, Kirkland 74, quoting classmate Cassandra Harris, described the Kirkland spirit. We went to a woman's college with intention. We were travelers through an uncharted time of revolution and change, and we knew we were driving much of that change. We did not live our mother's futures. We sang our own, bold and brave and beautiful yet to come. Professor Maurice Iserman wrote the definitive treatise of Hamilton Past on the Hill for the college bicentennial. It's a must-read for any Hamilton president. There you'll learn about venerated traditions thankfully long gone, like gym shows, paint night, and the chapel row. You'll discover some amazing tales, like how a chapel remodeling effort at the beginning of the century uncovered a bell tower wall where 45 students had signed their names on VE Day, May 8, 1945, stating that they rang the chapel bell steadily for 8 hours, stopping only under protest. And perhaps reminiscent of last year, how in 1986, students erected shanties in support of a divestiture campaign for the freedom of Black South Africans. The highest measure of Hamilton's distinction is that many of us have since entrusted the education, the future, of our own children, and they theirs. And so, on behalf of the 24,409 alums of Hamilton College, including 1,041 alums of Kirkland College, welcome to the Hill, Stephen. We wish you many years of success.
Good morning. I'm Linda Johnson, Vice Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the college. On behalf of the board, I am thrilled to be here this morning to welcome President Steven Tepper, his wife, Dana Mossman Tepper, and their children, Sally and Sam, to the Hill. Last year, the Presidential Search Committee spent months interviewing a deep and well-qualified pool of candidates, each of whom expressed a strong desire to become Hamilton's 21st president. But Steven's readily apparent intellect, energy, and commitment to the liberal arts set him apart, and his ability to express his ideas about his vision for our college assured us that he embodies the values and skills we aspire and strive to imbue in every one of our graduates. It was our hope and our responsibility to find a candidate with a blend of experience, creativity, and vision to make an ideal president for Hamilton at this moment in our more than 200-year history. When we offered Steven the opportunity to lead the college, it was clear that he possessed the qualifications and the qualities we sought. And in 3 short months since he has arrived on the Hill, it has become clearer still that Steven Tepper is not only all we had hoped, but that he is as excited to be here as we are to install him as our next president. In the many conversations I have had this weekend with students, faculty, staff, alums, parents, and friends of the college, the reactions to Steven are remarkably similar. His boundless creativity, warmth, and deep interest in everyone he encounters is genuine and at the core of his humanity. He makes people feel seen and heard by asking uncommon questions and intensely focusing on the answers. He exudes deep optimism, but not a reckless exuberance. He delights in healthy intellectual debate, all in an effort to get to know each of us more deeply so he can shape his role as an effective president. By his former colleagues, Steven has been described as joyful, collaborative, creative, and courageous. He is known for asking, "What if?" And I quote, "What if we make Hamilton a democracy makerspace where we actively practice and build the muscle necessary for renewing our civic life, where we approach the most contentious issues of our time not from a position of outrage, but from a place of inquiry and learning. What if, indeed? Exactly the type of question we want our leadership to be asking us. President Tepper, the Board of Trustees is honored to support you and Dana as you take on the stewardship of our beloved college. We look forward to working with you to ensure that Hamilton carries on our mission and elevates the quality of the exceptional liberal arts education to which we are dedicated. Please accept our heartfelt wishes for a long and brilliant tenure.
It is now my privilege to introduce our featured speaker this morning. Our speaker is described as a prolific and endlessly collaborative composer, performer, educator, and social entrepreneur, whose work spans more than 2 decades. The New York Times said he's about as omnivorous as a contemporary artist gets, having worked with artists as diverse as Philip Glass, Bill T. Jones, Savion Glover, and Lady Gaga. A composer of chamber, orchestral, and operatic works, Daniel Bernard Roumain, also recognized by his initials, DBR, is reportedly known for his signature violin sound infused with myriad electronic, urban, and African-American music influences. He and Steven Tepper first encountered one another at Vanderbilt University, where Daniel had earlier received his bachelor's degree. DBR subsequently earned a master's degree and doctorate in music composition at the University of Michigan. He and Steven Tepper reconnected at the Arizona State University, where Daniel was hired as Institute Professor of Practice and founder of the DBR Lab, a project-based development and producing space for ASU students. Please join me in giving a very warm Hamilton welcome to Daniel Bernard Roumain.
Good morning. I'm going to try to be good. The artist in me wants to take over, but I'm going to try to be good. You know, I'm going to try to be good. It's a good day. It feels like one hallelujah. Look up, look around, make eye contact with that certain someone. And before the cold, dark night comes and you gather around the shared, honest table, be mindful of what's on your shelf. Love this world of ideas as you change, challenge, know thyself. I was speaking with my friend Steven, and he said, imagine everyone is rowing in the same direction. Who would not want to be on that boat? Cutting through the water, the feeling of momentum, teamwork, and the thrill of seeing the horizon racing towards us. Who would not want to be on that boat? And I responded, what if instead of, I have a dream, it was, we have a dream? Could we agree on that dream, express it, articulate it, write it down, emblazon it on our walls, one day make it real? Good morning to all of you assembled here at Hamilton College. Dear friends, staff who work so hard to make our lives better and easier, faculty who have dedicated their lives towards education in our communities and the promise and inevitability of change, and to all the delegates, trustees, alumni, council members, family, friends, and special guests who have gathered here to celebrate our shared past, boundless future, and the inauguration of our dear 21st President, Dr. Steven Tepper. My name is Dr. Daniel Bernard Roumain, and I'm a proud Black, Haitian, American composer, violinist, performer, associate, and institute professor at Arizona State University, Herberger Institute for Design and the Arts. I've known President Tepper for over 20 years and have been asked to reflect on this man, my work with him, and to introduce President Tepper to you from an artist perspective on a creative campus and in a space where the arts hold place and purpose for us all. Dr. Steven Tepper is not only an educator, a leader, and administrator, he is at his core a believer. He has faith. He has faith in the people, places, and spaces where he is charged with leading, and his leadership model often involves leading by following, teaching by learning, success in response to loss. He believes in the power of creativity to shape lives and hold communities. He believes in the transformative potential of a liberal arts education to equip students not only with new perspectives and information, but with the critical thinking skills, empathy, and the resilience required to navigate a complex campus history colliding with debate, division, politics, and a commitment to an equal exchange of ideas, knowledge, and generosity of spirit. What impressed me most about Steven was his ability to listen, to be fully engaged in what people were saying to him, and to respond to them with care and precision. Associate Professor of History Celeste D. Moore shared with Hamilton College paper, The Monitor. Hamilton College, congratulations. You have as your new leader a profound thinker, a deep listener, and a joyous celebrant of life, remarked Colleen Jennings-Rogensack, Executive Director of ASU Gamage and Vice President for Student Affairs. And the first African-American and Mexican-American woman chair of the National Endowment of the Arts and former Institute Professor at ASU, Dr. Maria Rosaria Jackson, wrote to me and said, quote, "It was a privilege to be in a place where colleagues who Steven invited to help lead were part dreamer, part doer, and fully passionate change makers, a place where sentences that began with "what if" were welcome." I'm a composer and professor. My mind runs rampant with questions and lines of inquiry. What is the role and responsibility of a college campus in a time of terror, trial, and division? Can the arts be resistance? Can artists, like first responders, participate as part of a network of rapid responders running headfirst into danger and a cauldron of controversies, where division and debate rule the day, and where communities in need of real love and real leadership might look to the artist first for answers and resolve and understanding, and perhaps, most importantly, the truth. Beyond the lies and longing, the artists I love the most do one thing exceptionally well. They tell the truth of who they are, which allows me, all of us, to see the truth for what it is. Yeah, artists tell the truth, and they do, sometimes, lie. We call it artistic license. It's complicated, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? All right. Artists should have and should always remain that very special class of people where rules and restriction cannot apply. Artists have and must remain boundless. Our imaginations can only truly flourish in those fields where fully original, undiscovered ideas are planted, germinate, and grow into new ecologies for the arts. And I take solace that, like the soul or astral body, our imaginations are not bound by race, gender, politics, or person. Our imaginations predate and will outlive us all. Our imaginations contain the best part of us, who we were, are, and might be. Our bodies do not hold our imaginations. Rather, we are passengers riding within the warm embrace of our imaginations and what we might do with it. Yes, politicians are charged with making laws and trying to keep order. Professors help us make sense of an ever-changing and evolving world culture. Yet, we are all blessed with the power of our imaginations changing and evolving world culture. My mind loves the abundance of great ideas, but my heart longs for the romance, intimacy, and seduction of our imagination. Woo, can I get an amen? Can I get a hallelujah? Can I get an amen? Can I get a hallelujah? Let me ask you a question. What is the sound of you being alive? For me, it's wailing on a violin. What is it for you? What is the sound of you being alive? May I go off script? Man, I can't help it. It's come up. Look at this beautiful choir, F minor. My mother would come home covered with blood. Haitian American woman. My mother would come home covered with blood. She worked at the hospital. I was 15 years old in my room. And she would go shower, coif her hair, go into the kitchen, and start cooking. That's what a good Haitian mother does for the next day. And in between the sauces and the spices, she would sing a song, always original. And I said, one day when I get big enough, old enough, and I might be at a place like Hamilton College, I'm going to sing for her. And maybe ask the choir to join me. Call and response. Ooh. Ooh. Come on, let's snap. Come on. Ooh. Oh, yes, beautiful. 150 years ago, David McMaster, Hamilton College of 1824, wrote, "The old faculty members that we know are gone. Classmates and friends have passed away. Shadows of cherished memories fail on every side. The future of this noble institution rests largely with the alumni." 3 months ago, Beth Nizel-Krumik and Carol Goodman Kaufman, Kirkland class of 1974, wrote, "Music seemed to be everywhere. The Beatles had formally disbanded. When the publication board elected me as the next and first female editor-in-chief in spring 1972, I did not know until years later that 3 Hamilton students were summoned to New York City to explain to Coleman Burke, the long-standing chairman of the Hamilton Board of Trustees, why I, as a Kirkland student, was the best person to become editor-in-chief of the Hamilton newspaper. Little did we realize at graduation what the future would hold or envision the paths our lives would take. Our class has traversed the world, and some of us have settled in distant states and foreign lands. I asked Steven about his earliest memory, and he replied, "When I was 4 years old, I woke up and came downstairs in our DC suburban house, and I saw 20 people in sleeping bags on the floor of our den. They were Vietnam protesters who had come to DC for the big 71 march. It was scary, but I do remember how kind they were, all of them talking to me, singing with me. This was the world outside of my family." I asked Steven about his childhood, and he replied, "My childhood was filled with joy. I was happy all the time. Art classes from the time I was 6, inventing worlds, learning how to do the moonwalk after watching Michael Jackson's performance at the American Music Awards." I asked Steven about his first academic job, and he replied, "My first academic job was at Princeton, a research center after grad school, and also teaching a few classes. Vanderbilt was my first tenure-track job. Bill Ivey, who was chair of the NEA at the time, mentioned to me he was going to be recruiting at a policy center at Vanderbilt. I told him to call me if he ever needed help building the center. He did, and I brought my young family to Nashville for an amazing decade of work." I asked Steven, "What are you most proud of having accomplished?" And he replied, "I think I'm most proud of having launched this creative campus movement or conversation. I asked a very simple question in 2014 on the front page of the Chronicle of Higher Education. What if colleges and universities were ranked by how creative they are? That set off a flurry of conversations and programs across college campuses. I asked Steven about his family, and he replied, "Well, that is the thing I'm most proud of." I mentioned that I felt a lot of joy in my family growing up. Dana and I have managed to provide the type of home for Sally and Sam. Dana has been the conductor of our family, the planner, the brains, the problem solver. She makes it all work. Sally is our scholar, the endlessly curious child who would stay in school like her father forever if she could. Sam is our ever-present child, and he loves the moment with friends and family. Whatever is right in front of him, he embraces with a full heart, great enthusiasm, and full focus. I'm trying to learn from them. I asked President Steven Tepper about his dreams and aspirations for Hamilton, and he replied, "I think Hamilton has extraordinary people who have fantastic ideas for evolving the most important liberal arts college in the world. We need to build a creative energy across campus." And I asked Steven Tepper, why Hamilton? And he replied, "It's one of the oldest. It's one of the best. It is a creative campus, an idea that has been the object of my own writing and thinking for decades. It is an intentional community. Something happens on this hill. People want to pay it back forever. Getting a chance to work with that type of community, people who truly love the campus, not as a place that expresses their politics or their status, but rather a place that expresses their curiosity and their sense of community. So everyone is rowing in the same direction. Who would not want to be on that boat, cutting through the water? The feeling of momentum, teamwork, and the thrill of seeing the horizon racing toward us. The horizon racing toward us. The horizon racing towards us. The time is now. Hamilton College, I know that you've been through changes, and change is never easy and is always inevitable. It is an important part of our academic culture. It unfolds in our everyday lives. I wanted to leave you with my own sense of this moment. No one person can be all things to a campus that demands so much of us. No one president can satisfy all the moral and political obligations layered deep into a dense wall of opinions met by endless avenues of demands and choices and protests and prayer. And President Tepper, I have no doubt, is committed to your education, your success, your future, and will do all that he can every day to make all of your lives just a little bit better than the day before. And for some of you, it will be more than enough. And for others, it will never be enough. This is an albatross that we will all carry at some point in our lives. I have protested with a clenched fist, and then I was exhausted, and I opened my hand to you, and I proclaim my love for you. My friend Steven changed my life, y'all. He was my colleague, my collaborator, my mentor, my dean, Sandy. My source of frustration at times. Honesty. And remains my dear and loving friend. I was sad to see him leave Arizona, but there was another sun rising in the east. Just beyond any horizon is the promise of better days. Ooh. Where was your life a year ago, 4 years ago? Do you remember that first day on this campus? What's changed? What changes are coming for you? James Baldwin, writer, poet, humanitarian, said, there is never a time in the future in which we will work out our salvation. The challenge is in the moment. The time is always now. And I'm elated that in this moment, Hamilton College has decided that the time is now for President Steven Tepper. Goodbye. It felt like one hallelujah. We looked up, we looked around, we made eye contact with that certain someone. The cold, dark night is coming tonight. We will gather round a shared, honest table. We are mindful of what's on our shelf. We love this world of ideas. We are changed. We are challenged. Hallelujah. We know thyself.
I call again upon David Solomon to present Steven Tepper with the symbols of his office.
It is now my privilege and pleasure to present Steven Tepper for an honorary Doctor of Laws from Hamilton College. Growing up just outside the nation's capital, you were exposed to a multitude of cultural offerings on the Washington Mall and throughout the D.C. era. The Air and Space Museum, the Museum of Natural History, the National Gallery of Art, the Kennedy Center, to name a few and the most noteworthy. You recall walking from the Art Museum into the Space Museum and being amazed at the variety of ideas and innovations that make up our world, all in the shadow of our democracy. You subsequently came to appreciate the innovation and vision that gave rise to the nation whose capital city you frequented, including the man you call our nation's creative founding father. Alexander Hamilton, this college's namesake and original trustee, was, you said, quote, a designer and an architect of a new nation. Other founding fathers were content with borrowed models or sticking to the old agrarian order. Hamilton knew that a new nation needed new ideas. Our college's founder, Samuel Kirkland, displayed a similar understanding and innovation in his plan for education that he shared with George Washington and Alexander Hamilton, and that led to the establishment of the Hamilton Oneida Academy in 1793, which nearly 2 decades later became Hamilton College. Keenly aware of that history, you have said that creativity and innovation are in the DNA of Hamilton College. In your recent essay, Creativity at Social Scale, you and your co-author make the case that creativity is a powerful asset to advance our democracy and our planet, and that creativity is a public good that is essential to the social good because it helps us imagine alternative futures. It fuels empathy and connection. It drives civic engagement and creates adaptable and resilient individuals and communities. Creativity is also a fundamental attribute of a liberal arts education. It is the core of the educational enterprise you now lead on College Hill. In you, Hamilton has selected a leader steadfast in making creativity and human expression central to learning, discovery, and democracy. Someone whose values align with those of our earliest founders and benefactors. Someone whose deep appreciation for the power of language reflects our own long-held beliefs and conviction. And someone whose own creativity and intellectual humility inspire us to innovate, inquire, and to ask, what if? Today we welcome you as Hamilton College's 21st president, a person whose imagination, inventiveness, enthusiasm, and energy reflect the same characteristics of our founder, our namesake, and generations of teachers, students, and alumni whose lives have transformed and been transformed by this great college. Steven J. Tepper, acting on the authority of the Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws of Hamilton College, admitting you to all its rights and privileges. In token hereof, we present you with this diploma and invest you with this hood.
Good morning, everybody. I have been asking our students for 3 adjectives that describe how they feel when I see them. They often can only come up with 2. I have many today. I feel joy. I feel incredibly humble. I feel thankful. I feel a little overwhelmed. I feel emotional, and I feel ready. I feel ready to start with you. Ever since we encountered this place, it has just been an extension of the warmest possible welcome from our very first visit. This is a place that values people. It values relationships. It values a sense of community. I have felt that every single day since I began the journey here with you. This is also a place that values precision. So the first request that I got a couple weeks after the announcement was for the precise measurement of my head and then 22 other body parts. I was worried that you were already measuring the box that you would take me out in. But it turns out that Trustee Alex Sacerdote has an incredible period costume constructed, an Alexander Hamilton costume. He's done that for several past presidents. And so I know most of the lyrics to Hamilton the musical. Now I've got the costume. I'm going to get my equity card. And in case the 155th understudy in Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton gets sick, I will be ready. But the request did make me think about what it means to wear the layers of history, to make sure that they fit, that they are appropriately accessorized for our current moment in time, that they reveal my own style even while honoring the past. And importantly, they have to provide the flexibility and the durability to secure our 3rd century of service to the world here at Hamilton. I want to thank the extraordinary inauguration team for the weather and for so much hard work bringing about this weekend, which it's been a stunning set of events. Our buildings and grounds crew, who are master craftsmen who have continued to sculpt and tend and curate one of the most beautiful college campuses I've ever seen. And thank you to David, Solomon, and our entire board for trusting me to lead the institution that they so ardently love and have cared for. To Daniel Bernard Roumain, my great friend, who remains an extraordinary inspiration for me and to so many people. Thank you, Daniel, for your words today. Former Hamilton presidents Gene Tobin, Joan Stewart, David Whitman, who all succeeded in what I'm now calling the endurance sport of a college presidency. And they all left this institution better than when they began. And a special thanks to David, my immediate predecessor, who is a towering intellect and an even more towering human. And I have experienced just a brief bit of the WITIDC syndrome, which everybody knows what that is, which is who is that in David's chair? And the answer according to what students are calling me, is Stepper. Stepper is in David's chair. We do not get to pick our nicknames, apparently. I also want to recognize my wife, Dana, companion for more than 30 years, and Sam and Sally, my parents, my brother, all of my family, friends who have come from around the country to be here to celebrate with our Hamilton family today. So today is the beginning of our next phase as a college. It's also an opportunity for us all to think about beginnings, to embrace that sense of possibility, to honor the power of higher education, to reflect on what formal education has meant for us in our own lives. This radical invention of more than 2,000 years ago, the idea that there's a focused time to undergo the maximum social and intellectual development and growth, to bombard our brains and our senses with diverse ideas and diverse places and diverse people, accelerating all those connections, the 86 billion neurons that exist between our ears. We need to honor what happens here. If you read the headlines, many will say it is impossible to be a college president. Well, that's true. I have faced some serious challenges in my first 100 days, from not only a steep learning curve, but also a steep hill between the President's house at the bottom of the hill and Buttrick Hall at the top of the hill. I have had trouble remembering to turn off my hybrid vehicle and left it running for hours outside of Commons, not once, but twice. I had a chance to go to my first women's field hockey game, and I simply do not know the rules, and I don't think I ever will. And I have to be honest that I don't really know what buff is in the buff and blue of Hamilton's colors. It might be yellow, it might be tan, it could be beige, it could be cream, I don't know. Now, I know there are serious issues and greater challenges ahead for me and for all of us, but let me be clear. Being a college president is the greatest honor ever, and being Hamilton's president is simply unmatched. It is an opportunity of a lifetime. Dana and I will serve you with every ounce of our humanity, our care, our courage, our creativity. I want to share with you some early observations from what I consider to be my beginner's mind, which is a Zen concept for seeing things anew for the first time, a fresh perspective. So I have been on a college campus for 39 years, and I have been thinking about what colleges do and how they work. I believe the learning environment that we have created here, that you have created here at Hamilton, is the best that I have ever seen. It may be the best in the world, and it starts with our world-class faculty, who organize their research and their teaching around what I call the exquisite question. Those puzzles that reveal a world that is always infinitely more interesting, more complex, more uncertain, and more compelling. One colleague told me that after completing a major project, he always starts with a puzzle that is almost entirely new to him, maximizing that thrill of the beginner's mind, and he brings that sense of wonder and that curiosity to his classroom every day. Here's what I'm absolutely certain of, based on conversations with hundreds of students. They love our faculty. They love their classes. They treasure those interactions that happen and those collaborations that happen every day in the classroom, in the lab, in the studio, on the field, and on the court. I want to thank our faculty. I want us all to thank our faculty right now for creating such an unbelievable, dynamic environment that inspires our students every day. And like our faculty, our students are incredibly curious and open and generous, and they're kind to each other. They've created a beautiful community together. They are high achievers. They are motivated academically, but more important, they are explorers, more than consumers of knowledge. They are driven by those same questions. They're interested in questions more than answers. And the open curriculum feels like a big open invitation to follow those questions. Here's the typical exchange that I have with a student. Hey, Alex, what's your favorite class this semester? Well, President Tepper, I love all of my classes. All of my classes. I'm an economics major, but my favorite class is Romance, Revolution, and Rebels in 19th century French novel. Every conversation is a version of that. You know, at many highly selective colleges, the students that get admitted have figured out the game. They know how to get the grade they want with the least amount of effort and the least amount of risk. They're moving very quickly in the world to get to the next rung in their very accelerated lives of success. They often don't pay attention to the rung that they're standing on. But Hamilton students are not in a hurry. They remind me of Henry, a New England brown bear in the children's story Henry Hikes to Fitchburg, based on Henry Thoreau's life. So Henry and his friend want to go to Fitchburg, which is 25 miles away, and his friend thinks, I'm going to work, go from one job to another, stacking, painting, cleaning. I'll get enough money, I'll hop on the train, I'll get to Fitchburg. And Henry says, well, I'm going to hike to Fitchburg. And he crosses rivers, and he presses flowers, and he looks at insects through a magnifying glass, and he climbs trees. And his friend gets on the train and gets there 5 minutes before Henry, and is sitting there contented with himself. And Henry arrives a few minutes later with a pail swinging around his arm, and his friend says, hey, see, I got here first. And Henry says, that's okay, I stopped for blackberries. I think we're all walking to Fitchburg on this hill, right? We're all stopping for blackberries. We're not racing from metric to metric, from one transaction to another, from the pushes and the pulls of being in a market economy. We are all involved in something different and something bigger. The exploration of beauty, of wonder, of truth. And that exploration is not whimsy, it's not self-indulgence. It is critical to advancing our species, our democracy, our planet. The world has plenty of purveyors of answers, most of which are wrong or incomplete. We need places like Hamilton to advance those exquisite questions, the question tied to our mission of citizenry, of social change, of creativity, of innovation. From my earliest conversations here at Hamilton, it is clear that we are prestigious without being pretentious. I've heard that over and over again. Prestigious, not pretentious. We've embraced a kind of intellectual humility, and it turns out that social scientists who have studied intellectual humility shows that it actually makes us a better thinker, makes us more critical at assessing evidence, helps us consider multiple viewpoints. It identifies and encourages creativity in ourselves and in others. It helps us have empathy. Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz, a 17th century Mexican feminist poet, scholar, teacher, nun. Just think about that. 17th century Mexican feminist poet, scholar, teacher, nun. Once wrote, I study not to know more, but to forget less. Now our motto, you heard Daniel leave with, know thyself, which on the face of it could be about knowing more, about discovering that marble sculpture of self that lies somewhere between the rough-hewn block of stone. But I think that Hamilton, what we mean by know thyself, is a call to humility. It's to know others. It's to know our world. It's to unknow things. It's to welcome that beginner's mind. Now, the first 100 days for me has also been filled with this majestic beauty of this campus. I am struck when I walk from Kirkland between the chapel and South Hall, and I see the unbelievable variety of trees and the mist rising in the valley. It's so beautiful. Emmons Payne's class of 1874 described the campus as walking in God's acre, surrounded by those who had gone before. And Fran Weston, class of 1900, proclaimed the campus is one of the loveliest in all of America, and it grows more so every year. So for the remainder of the 2 hours that they've allotted for the talk, I want to share some of my views about creativity, and given what we've already heard today, never have I felt like talking about creativity is less creative than today. You've heard a lot about it, you're going to hear more, and about what that means for the future of Hamilton. Look, I think all of us have a central puzzle of some kind in our lives. We're not always aware of it, but it kind of animates our lives. It's a question that occupies us, we return to, it grows larger, it grows more complicated. We want to solve something, we come back to it. For me, that central puzzle's always been creativity. Maybe it started when I accompanied my dad, who's here with us today, to a hardware store, and he would pick up an object and say, "What is this?" And I'd say, "Well, that's a hose," or "That's a wrench." And he'd say, "What else could it be used for?" That question activated something in my brain to see things not only as they are, but what else they could be. Before, as a sociologist, I was an artist. I grew up fascinated by where those creative ideas came from, both in me and others, the mystery, the romance of the creative individual, the mystery and romance of Daniel Bernard Roumain. As I got older, that puzzle changed for me. I became more interested in why some places, in some times, across history and space, are more creative than others. Athens, Florence, the Ninth Ward in New Orleans, the Han Dynasty, Los Angeles in the 1940s, Silicon Valley in the 1990s. Why Apple more than IBM? As I thought about these places and organizations, I wondered why hadn't anyone turned that lens on colleges and universities, right? Places that are actually designed for creativity. Their combination of disciplines, their constant flow of new students and new ideas, their freedom to ask any question, incredible freedom. All those tools for creative discovery in our labs, in our studios, on our stages, all of our technologies. And so I wrote an article then for the Chronicle 20 years ago this week, and I just said, hey, what if we rank colleges by how creative they are? I asked it provocatively. I didn't know how we would do that. But ever since, as I've observed, there are certainly pockets of creativity throughout our sector. There are so many creative people, but our institutions are not creative. We have not maximized those conditions for creative exchange, for risk, for asking those big what-if questions, for failure, for experimentation. And I think Hamilton can be that model creativity. And as David mentioned, I believe it's in our DNA. I believe it's in our namesake, our architect, our designer. He saw a different world. He wanted to bring it about. He saw a world that would be more tolerant, a world that would have more creative manufacturing, that would have these robust, pluralistic cities of exchange. So what would Alexander Hamilton advise us today, our creative founding father, this day of our inauguration? I think he would say, how are you going to build a better nation? How can we deploy the college to become a national laboratory for creativity and democracy. And I think we can build on our Common Ground initiative, our Levitt Center, our Justice Lab, our DC program. We can audition, we can test, we can critique, we can examine, we can advance the most innovative ideas around the future of our democracy. Our democracy needs Hamilton College. Right now, we can and we must lead with our history and our distinctive liberal arts approach. Now, Samuel Kirkland's very idea of the Hamilton Oneida Academy to create this combined learning environment where intercultural exchange was critical for education, that has remained with us for our 231 years of history. And we've been a place for creativity. Charles Avery, class of 1820, later a professor of chemistry, was an early pioneer of early photographic processes. He was the first to take a daguerreotype west of the Hudson. Bristol Myers had its roots in the village of Clinton, founded by two of our graduates who set up shop. Hamilton was the first college in America to welcome a foreign student from China, Chan Lei Sun, evidence that we have always long believed that students from diverse backgrounds will enrich the intellectual environment of this community. We were one of the first colleges to publish a weekly student newspaper. Clinton Scholar, class of 1881, perhaps the most important creative invention, he invented the curveball during a baseball game. He is said to have gotten that idea by studying a statue of an ancient discus thrower that stood in the library. Evidence of the power of analogical thinking. And during World War II, we pivoted. We added to our liberal arts curriculum aviation, medicine, translation courses, graduating hundreds and hundreds of military officers who had the benefit of both a liberal arts education and the skills needed to be of immediate service to the nation. And in this spirit, we continue to practice the liberal arts today. We always continuously help our students translate what they're learning into active citizen and active service, whether that's working with communities in central New York, advancing sustainability on our own campus, interning in Washington, D.C., or building their own enterprises, their own companies. We have to ask ourselves, what does practicing the liberal arts look like moving forward? And can we create here at Hamilton the most robust set of curricular and extracurricular opportunities with partners across every sector, with all of our alumni, so that our Hamilton students have even more opportunities to continue to fully engage the world and build bridges between the creative and liberal arts education they're getting in the classroom and what the world needs of them. Kirkland College, you've heard mentioned several times. It's been the fount of creativity for Hamilton from the day we were able to integrate. Betty Hargitay Marmon, class of 72, Kirkland class, describes the spirit of Kirkland. The creative arts were considered a key part of the academic curriculum, not just fluffy additions. Academic divisions and disciplines combined. We analyze problems, text, artistic creations holistically from multiple perspectives. That has become a cornerstone of Hamilton's intellectual culture today. Today, our economics department has built an even more creative approach to teaching the core economic sequence, emphasizing holistic themes like inequality, broadening students' perspectives on economics, all of these things leading to demonstrable improvements in performance and academic outcomes. And Celeste, you get a second call out today. Your class on Black social and cultural political institutions in Chicago, which combines census data and newspapers and novels and photographs and oral histories, all taken together to understand time and place. Talk about a creative and holistic approach. Flip through our 1,500 courses in our catalog, and Kirkland College is right there, deeply woven into everything we do today. I also consider the decision to make Hamilton need blind an act of creativity. During the board meeting, December 2009, many of you were there, Others have heard the story. There was a call for big ideas. It was in the midst of an economic downturn, and other colleges were standing still. They were crouching down, and our trustees decided to take a shot, a big shot. They stepped up in that meeting, and they pledged $2.5 million to allow the college to go need blind, all need met. Had no idea how the next $40 million would be raised, but they were embracing a future that many colleges just simply couldn't see at that time. But we had the optimism, we had the courage, we had the foresight, we had the risk tolerance to do something that was simply too important not to do. I consider that a creative act. And the breadth of students that it has attracted to this campus has made Hamilton an infinitely more creative place than it otherwise would have been. And of course, our open curriculum. When I've done a straw poll of our students and I say, why A and not B? Why Hamilton and not your second choice? The overwhelming response is the open curriculum. It's an invitation to our students to stretch their brains as far as they can stretch them across disciplines, across classes, to enroll in the types of courses I just mentioned. But what does Open Curriculum 2.0 look like, right? If this is our ace in the hole, if this is what students come to us for, if this is what has generated these magnificent students and the way they learn and who they are, what does that look like moving forward? How can we intentionally design and activate it and reimagine it to drive the very highest levels of creative exchange possible? Our Innovation Center, we broke ground yesterday. It's an opportunity for us to evolve as a creative campus. We cannot chase technology here at Hamilton. We have got to lead and shape technology. And we can create a unique value proposition. We're not experts in artificial intelligence, although we have faculty who have that expertise. I would say what we're experts in is authentic intelligence, in human intelligence. And a world with ubiquitous computing needs human intelligence. It needs discernment, it needs judgment, it needs authentic expression. The Innovation Center can be a hub for the very best thinking, the very best experimenting around how the liberal arts colleges in America can engage technology to maximize every bit of community, every bit of human connection, every bit of creative exchange. So we have been a creative campus for more than 2 centuries. We can design a future that allows us to leverage that history to expand opportunities and to create that national differentiation and to lead. As part of this, I'm pleased today to announce a presidential initiative. Many of you have ideas you're walking around with for how to make this college a better place. New ways to engage in difficult conversations, new ways to encourage approaches to our democracy, new ways to practice the liberal arts, new ways to engage in technology, new ways to connect art, sustainability, and science. So next week, we're going to provide a link and an invitation for you to propose those ideas, to share those ideas, to collaborate with others. We'll provide funding. We'll tell you what the criteria are, the timelines. We'll have special events where you can come together and exchange. The point is, let's try things. We're great at talking about things. That's what we do. That's our occupational disposition. Let's start experimenting, prototyping, piloting. We do not have to wait. The future is now. Let's begin. Let's begin with those what-if questions. A few weeks ago, the Chronicle of Higher Education published a photograph of me carrying in a box to Dunham Hall, and it was an effort. And the caption should have read, "Tepper is clearly not up for the job." But instead, it said that I was bringing to this campus an approach to creativity and human expression that is central to learning and discovery and engagement. That approach was clearly not in that box I was carrying. I cannot resist the cliche, it was outside the box. But we are advancing now to become a bolder version of ourselves. Psychologist John Balby has written, "All of life is a series of daring explorations from a secure base." Daring explorations from a secure base. Hamilton has one of the most secure bases ever in the history of higher education. With our 231 years, our amazing students, our great faculty, our loyal alumni, our caring and committed staff, our presidents past, our arborists, our stonemasons, everybody who in every moment has designed and built and cleared the path forward. They have given the ideas that have given this college shape, that has given us what we needed to prosper and to evolve, and I feel all of those steady hands today. Archimedes said that all he needed was a place to stand and a lever to move the world. Well, this is our place to stand. And I think our lever is our creativity and our boundless imagination and our daring explorations ahead. So for perhaps the biggest what if today is what if, here on this hill, with this history, with this extraordinary commitment to the liberal arts, what if Hamilton College liberates and harnesses all of our collective energy, all of our ideas, to become the most important liberal arts college in the world, a model for the exact type of creativity and exchange that we so desperately need in the world right now? What if? Thank you. Onward to a great, great future.
It's handy that you decided to stand for the president. I was going to ask you to please rise while we sing Carissima, the words to which are printed in your program.
Mother
Everyone is invited to the picnic on the Dunham Green. Please remain standing in your places until the procession has left the auditorium. This assembly is adjourned.